He's a stone-cold liar. I respect the presidency. I've tried to have an open hand with him, tried to work with him. You can't work with Donald Trump. You can only work for him. And I will not. I refuse to work for Donald Trump.
They don't have any faith in Gavin Newsom.
The most corrupt president in history.
Which is kind of funny because he wants to be president so bad.
I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around.
California is literally on fire. Again. And no, this isn't some new Hollywood cliffhanger. Roads are cracking, wildfires are devouring everything, and politicians are sweating harder than marathon runners in suits. Somewhere in Sacramento, Gavin Newsom is probably frantically typing "how to look in control" into Google with shaking hands. Then out of nowhere, boom, Joe Rogan enters the scene, the man who can roast reality itself just by speaking into a mic. He charges into this fiery disaster like a caffeine-fueled storm of truth and sarcasm. But what exactly did he say? Did he completely lose it? Or did he unleash a masterclass in brutal honesty? Get ready, because what he said burns hotter than the wildfires themselves.
The Los Angeles Times Panera would not be exempt from the law. The spokesperson also denied a claim, the Bloomberg piece, which cited sources close to the matter, that Newsom pushed for an exemption that applies to businesses that bake bread and sell it as a standalone item, calling the report absurd. So is it a fake story?
Or is it something that they
might have corrected
course quickly? Yeah.
Yeah. Roll up to the top. So where's the initial report? Let's find the initial report.
If you're hooked on this chaos, smash that subscribe button. It helps more than you think. California's burning yet again, and this time it's not a metaphor or another celebrity meltdown. It's terrifyingly real. Flames rage across the hills, smoke cloaks the sky, and right in the middle of this fiery disaster, Gavin Newsom holds a press conference like he's reviewing a fine vintage. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan, mic in hand, powered by caffeine and pure mayhem, is likely mid-spin of logic, deciding this is the perfect moment to leap straight into the inferno of opinions.
Because why would Bloomberg spread bullshit? Bloomberg is a financial paper, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's not something...
I don't think it would be,
You really can't do that if you're running a financial paper. It's not like the New York Times. The New York Times can say Israel bombed the hospital and 500 people are killed and put it on the front page, even if it's not true. And everybody just assumes it's true because it's the New York Times. But they can kind of get away with that. And then they still exist.
When Joe Rogan decides to weigh in, he doesn't just talk. He explodes. He dives headfirst into chaos, ripping through the madness, the politics, and the endless circus of it all. Imagine California as a luxury sports car. Shiny, admired, the darling of media and tourists. But under the hood? Smoke billowing, oil leaking, brakes failing, and the engine begging for mercy. It's a dazzling disaster speeding toward oblivion, and Rogan's ready to expose every crack, every flaw, and every squeaky bolt holding it together.
That people still speculate that you're waiting in the wings to run for president. I know it's not going to happen. You know it's not going to happen. But what do you think is fueling that speculation?
I don't know. I don't think much anymore. And I'm so proud of the president and the incredible job he did. Didn't surprise me at all. And I know it didn't surprise you. I really believe that. I said to my friend the other day, I said, you know, on this age, and we can get into debates around fitness. Look, I'd rather have 80 years behind me than those 88 federal criminal counts.
Joe Rogan doesn't just see this wreck of a metaphorical car. He grabs the keys and takes control. He yanks the manual right out of Gavin Newsom's hands and starts pointing at every burnt wire and busted gear like a comedian mechanic on a mission. In Rogan's version, this isn't poor leadership. It's a full-blown comedy special featuring potholes, wildfire smoke, and a governor juggling headlines like flaming torches. Every line drips with irony. Every punchline hits with force, and somehow you can't look away from the smoldering mess.
There must be something to it, and it's so hard with that guy. Because when you just look at the way he praised Biden, I would never run against him. A man of character. You know, like I'm old school. It's God. It's like he's playing someone in a movie that's a crazy person. It's like that's how like a really good actor would play a complete crazy person who's insincere enough that smart people recognize it.
Rogan's style is classic Rogan, Bold, loud, and totally unfiltered. He doesn't hint or suggest change. He attacks the chaos head-on. It's like he's tearing apart an overstuffed burrito packed with politics, ego, and layers of red tape. The roads look ancient. Bridges sway like tired gymnasts, and the state budget reads like invisible ink scribbles made during a cat video binge. Joe lays it all out, shaking his head, wondering how anyone still calls this place paradise, while fire trucks crawl through gridlocked highways. Meanwhile, Newsom's out here trying to fix everything with the political version of a Band-Aid on a sinking ship. The air smells like scorched eucalyptus, smashed avocado toast, and economic meltdown. But Rogan somehow turns it all into comedy gold. He mocks the absurdity of enforcing endless rules in a state where half the people have solar panels, the other half own flamethrowers, and everyone loses Wi-Fi the moment a spark hits the hillside.
Right. You can't ruin a city and then go on to ruin a state and say, guys, that was just practice. Once I get it as a president, I'm going to fix it.
Wake up, America. Wake up. You will not have a country if he rigs this election. He's a lawless president. Wake up, America. Wake up to what's going on.
But he's such a great politician. I mean,
No,
he's
he's
so
not.
smooth.
I think he's terrible. And he's a good artist.
Well, I think it's pretty sick and pathetic. Everything you know about Donald Trump's America, and that was top down, you know that for a fact. Everything you know about the authoritarian tendencies of the President of the United States.
He compares Sacramento's decision-making to someone trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded during a hurricane while juggling flaming torches. It's total chaos wrapped in confusion, but somehow it's still hilarious. Rogan jokes that maybe someone should finally call a firefighter who actually knows math. Then he dives into the housing crisis without hesitation, like a shark that smells political nonsense from miles away. Sky-high rents, tent cities beside empty mansions, and politicians promising fixes while cruising in Teslas on autopilot, dodging responsibility as smoothly as traffic. Rogan cuts through it all with sarcasm, so sharp it could slice California's smog in half. He says the state's like a startup that burned all its funding on kombucha and yoga retreats while the servers overheat and investors flee. He cracks jokes about tax codes that read like ancient scrolls, small businesses buried under fees bigger than movie budgets, and everyone still cheering because someone invented an app that delivers kale smoothies faster than the budget collapses. It's ruthless, it's funny, and it hurts.
Things that he says when he gets confronted with things, we're the highest this and the highest that. Like, everybody's leaving.
You will have a president who will be running for a third term. Mark my word.
You have the highest unemployment. You have the highest homelessness.
Doesn't believe in free enterprise, crony capitalism. He is wrecking this country, wrecking the economy.
You killed Hollywood. Like, Hollywood doesn't exist anymore.
Rogan's timing is flawless, equal parts shock, sarcasm, and razor-sharp wit. He turns California's chaos into comedy so effortlessly you almost forget it's real. Of course, he zeroes in on Newsom's polished image, the smooth talk, the practiced grin. But to Rogan, it's all smoke and mirrors. While Gavin's on TV promising progress, Rogan imagines him tripping over a pothole mid-speech, unaware it's actually a sinkhole. The contrast is priceless. Rogan paints him not as a leader, but as a contestant on a twisted reality show called How Not to Run a State. And somehow, it's all happening in a place where everyone owns a surfboard, a trust fund, and an unfinished wildfire plan. Rogan even envisions Newsom swirling a glass of Pinot Noir, saying, "We're making progress," while fire trucks loop around, completely lost. His punchlines ignite like sparks on dry brush. California's burning, yet the reality show just keeps rolling.
Some of the success that they're hanging their hat on is his social media campaign where he talks like Trump.
It's no longer the rule of law. It's increasingly the rule of Don.
So he's got a bunch of people from his organization that tweet for him, and they tweet like Trump, and they're saying this has elevated him in the public's eye. That's terrifying.
You've seen it across the board. People are scared to death of this guy.
He's starting to learn the internet sensibility.
It's the appalling silence. It's the complicity. You're seeing the most successful, wealthiest people scared to death of this guy.
Which is heavily trolling, does very well. What he has is a terrible record in California.
Then comes the public reaction. Rogan dives headfirst into the absurd gap between political talk and real-world chaos. People are trapped in traffic, choking on smoke, rent climbing faster than the flames, while politicians read press releases that sound like AI-generated pep talks. Rogan spins it into a comedy bit that feels almost too real. It's funny until it suddenly isn't. You laugh, you cringe, and you start wondering if maybe Joe should run a state, or at least host disaster management for dummies. He mocks the tangled mess of agencies and departments, each talking in circles while the fires burn on. Every jab lands with sting and precision. Every laugh hides a harsh truth. Beneath the jokes lies a state collapsing under its own weight. And Rogan doesn't spare Silicon Valley, because California loves pretending it's the future while the present is literally in flames. He pictures tech execs tweeting, "Stay strong," as their servers melt and engineers question life over overpriced oat milk lattes.
Which means it was preventable. You certainly prevent them from raging into the tragedy that they became.
Because that was a few months ago. People have short memories. They go, that tweet was fun. He did a post on X that was fun, and it doesn't matter that they let all the criminals out in California.
That was grotesque mismanagement. That could have been prevented. You can't prevent hurricanes, can't prevent floods, but you certainly can try and start reducing the moral hazard that we've allowed to explode, quite honestly.
He's bad. The people go so much further than him.
The dozens of people who've lost their lives, the hundreds of billions of dollars worth of property damage.
That's how bad the Democratic Party is right now.
Rogan paints it perfectly. Newsom strolling through Silicon Valley, politely applauding every flashy innovation, as if an app that waters bonsai trees could somehow rescue a collapsing state. The irony is cinematic. Rogan fires off his jokes like a sniper, every line a hit of pure sarcasm. When he gets to green energy, he doesn't hold back. Solar panels everywhere, electric cars zipping past potholes big enough to swallow a Prius, and power grids that glitch like toddlers on a sugar rush. The irony is shocking. You can't even charge your phone while evacuating a wildfire. "Nice work, Governor," Rogan quips. Then he swings back to the housing crisis. California, the dreamland, and disaster zone all in one. He turns it into a twisted game show where contestants pay fortunes for shoebox apartments while luxury towers stand empty, waiting for billionaires to post selfies in their spotless kitchens. Rogan mocks lawmakers waving pens like magic wands, pretending homes will appear out of thin air. It's madness, but it's hilarious madness.
It's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. California has all this industry. Hey, fucko, they're all thinking about moving. The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. If it was like every business could instantly pull up roots and replace everything and have everything running in a week at the other place, they'd all be gone.
Rogan's descriptions are so sharp you can see the chaos unfold. A city packed with frustrated people clutching eviction notices in one hand and kombucha bottles in the other, wondering how it all went so wrong. Traffic, of course, becomes his ultimate masterpiece. He turns every freeway into a parking lot of honking horns and dazed tourists while politicians keep chanting, "We'll fix it." And their fixes, adding random bike lanes that lead nowhere, or inventing carpool rules that sound like riddles told by a caffeinated squirrel. Rogan's sarcasm hits with precision, turning civic failure into pure cartoon absurdity. Drivers wave at drones hauling avocados, while someone, somewhere, is still demanding a press release explaining how traffic is improving. The irony is wild. Citizens watering lawns in protest, while leaders lecture about saving water like they're hosting a TED Talk for succulents. Rogan's punchlines slice through the nonsense. It's hysterical, but also a serious warning in disguise.
It's too expensive. It's too expensive to leave versus what you would save and the regulations that you wouldn't have to go through and all the bullshit with all the permits and all that. What California does is overregulate everything. They get as much government involved as possible, as much tax money out of you as possible, and then they still leave the place a mess. They still have homeless people everywhere. It's still a disaster. It's still a woke shit show of virtue signaling at every level of the government. Still. Like, no course correction at all. They're going further and further into La La Land. And you're like, Jesus Christ, you guys.
Then comes the cultural circus, California's favorite form of chaos. Rogan tears into it with style, showing how the state clings to identity politics like a prized trophy while everything else falls apart. The irony is brutal. Vegan cafes sprouting beside streets piled with trash, protests roaring next to wildfire evacuations, and influencers posting hashtags while the power grid literally sizzles. Rogan cuts through it all with his signature punch. "You can't tweet your way out of a wildfire," he practically shouts. It's painfully true, and somehow still hilarious. Only Rogan could mix absurdity and truth with such precision. His critique hits like a comedy ninja strike, fast, sharp, and unforgettable. Every policy sounds like it was dreamed up by a gamer on an energy drink rush while citizens mash buttons hoping to pause the chaos. Rogan exposes the shiny surface hiding real struggles, with a smirk so sharp it slices through the smog itself.
The governor gave this creepy speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down.
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties.
While it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We've got some ideas, a speculator, we're going to have some meetings.
And the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward. And we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
It's so creepy.
Finally, Rogan dives into the grand finale, California's chaos reaching a fever pitch, streets packed with angry citizens, firefighters exhausted, and politicians pretending to fix everything while sipping lattes with catchy slogans printed on the cups. Rogan imagines Gavin Newsom delivering an emotional speech to a furious crowd, waving signs like, "Where's our water?" and "Potholes eat children." The outrage boils, cameras flash, and somehow the whole thing blows up on TikTok for no logical reason. It's pure madness, a tragicomedy unfolding in real time. Rogan narrates the spectacle with biting sarcasm, capturing every fake smile and hollow promise. He circles back to Newsom, cool grin, perfect hair, acting like he's in control while the state crumbles around him. Every policy, every press conference, every carefully chosen phrase, Rogan shreds them all with precision. You can almost picture him, coffee in hand, shaking his head as flames rage behind him. His closing line hits like a punch. Maybe California should forget wine tours and start selling disaster tours, because here, survival has officially become the new luxury.